Today's surprise hearing of the January 6th committee is giving us the most complete picture yet of former President Trump's actions as his supporters stormed the Capitol.
A top aide in the Trump White House testified Trump knew many in the crowd had weapons, but the former president said they weren't there to hurt him. KTLA's Chris Wolf is here with the key moments from the hearing. Chris.
That's right, Sharon Pedro. Former White House insider Cassidy Hutchinson says President Trump was out of control on January 6th. Trump tonight, though, is claiming he doesn't even know her, but believes she's just a disgruntled former employee.
As an American, I was disgusted. It was unpatriotic. It was un-American. We were watching the Capitol building get defaced over a lie.
Former top White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson delivers verbal bombshells to congressional investigators, delving into the storming of the Capitol building on January 6th, 2021. Hutchinson was an aide and assistant to former President Donald Trump's White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. She paints a picture of a commander-in-chief on a downward spiral, unhinged, trying desperately to seize a second term as president when Congress was confirming the result of the 2020 election in favor of Joe Biden. Hutchinson says minutes before Trump took the stage at a rally, he urged Secret Service agents to remove metal detectors to let people in with weapons because, quote, they're not here to hurt me. She says Trump and some members of his inner circle ignored warning signs of potential violence on the Hill. Quote, Congress is the target in the days leading up to the deadly violence. Hutchinson says there was talk the morning of January 6th about people showing up to support Donald Trump and what they were carrying.
Knives, guns in the form of pistols and rifles, bear spray, body armor, spears, and flagpoles.
And she recalled Donald Trump's reaction.
I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the effing mags away.
Mags are magnetometers or metal detectors.
President Trump was aware that a number of the individuals in the crowd had weapons and were wearing body armor. And here's what President Trump instructed the crowd to do.
We're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down. Anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol.
And Hutchinson says while in the motorcade following the rally, when the president learned security agents were driving him back to the White House and not the Capitol, he exploded.
The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel.
Hutchinson also testified that Meadows and Rudy Giuliani asked about being pardoned in the days after the attack. The hearing ended with Republican Liz Cheney showing tweets that suggest attempts to intimidate witnesses before they testified. More hearings are planned in July.